My name is Khakasa Lwangu. I started my social enterprise, Khakasa Social Enterprise, after I had to stop working from doctor's orders, but they couldn't find what was wrong. But they knew working was making things harder for me, and my condition was worsening day by day, collapsing, falling, chronic pain, things they couldn't explain, symptoms they couldn't explain. No test would come positive for anything. MRIs to the point of being told it's all in your head. They call it psychosomatic. So one time, in fact, the first neurologist who told me it might be in your head, I was very comfortable and ready to accept that diagnosis because my research had told me psychosomatic illness. You're put on antidepressants 30 days and you're back to normal, back to work. That was it, the thing in my head. So I went to see, he's called Dr. Kigamo. He's one of the best known psychiatrists in Kenya. And within 10 minutes, he tells me, it's not in your head. You don't even hit the markers for depression. This is physical. So for 50 minutes, he started trying to remember his medical school knowledge. Because they go through medical school before they do their masters in psychiatry. So for 50 minutes he was trying to diagnose me, but he gave me the option of going to see him whenever I'm in doubt. It's happened many times, being told you're just mental. And I don't find the label being called mental a problem because I have grown up with two siblings with mental issues. And unfortunately, in my family, you become chronically ill, you're persona non grata. So, for example, my brother was the first. His was caused by trauma. He was hit by a car. And due to the head injuries he incurred, that's in the 90s, 93, 94, I can't remember the exact year. He became a lot off kilter. He did things that were off. He got arrested at some point, but of course, because he was a mental patient, he was admitted to Madari. So he was in Madari for a number of years. Now, when he got out, nobody took the time to rehabilitate him back into society because you see, the society he left and the society he was rejoining had changed. And every time I talked about the organizations that are there to help, because I have much older brothers, And him being a man, I figured my brothers could handle him. If he goes psychotic, they would, so I would make appointments, they would not go. At some point, I stayed with Andrew in Kabete, and just that being concerned when I was still working, that is in the 2013, that stayed with him, and I would go all over Kenya for work. I was in quality assurance, so we would test the quality of teas and all that. So that meant going to factories all over the country. 3-4 days I'm not at home. But my livestock, my vegetables, my pets, I had so many animals. People used to call me the animal whisperer. Then I sort of have a green thumb. I would grow anything, just go wild. So, like for example, some of the vegetables I would grow. This Wamama Mboga from Kawangware would come and just pick, and then they would give him the money, and he wouldn't use it. He would just keep it there for me. So long as there's food, he would take his medicine as usual, then go on. But with chronic diseases, any chronic disease, no, because people tend to look at mental health, etc., as something like a curse or something. If you destabilize someone's environment in any way or form, of course, if something will go off. For mental health, usually it's a stressful situation, something they're not used to coming into the environment. So you have to understand how to introduce something new. For someone with diabetes, it's introducing something new to their diet. For me, with stiff persons, it includes loud, especially very loud sounds. You can see I have the earplugs on. Loud sounds, huge trigger. Lights are a huge trigger. Anxiety and stress are also a big trigger. Stiff person has so many triggers, so it's also a chronic disease, but it's an extremely rare one. That's why it took so long to get a diagnosis. And when I finally got a diagnosis, there are still some doctors who will doubt because they're not exposed to literature on it. It affects 1 in a million. Now, currently, you can see I have the eye patch. This isn't normal. In fact, my entire right side is down. Because as I mentioned before, in my family, you become sick, chronically sick, your persona non grata. For me, that grit kept me going. The savings I had, friends kept me going. I will honestly tell you, to date, none of my family, from when I started showing serious symptoms in 2015, has been to any doctor's appointment with me, with, as in to take me, not ile ya nimekwambia nipeleke. Those ones are, you're my sister, you're sick, you've collapsed in the house, let me come and take you to the doctor. Not a sibling, not a parent, no one to date. They don't know my current medication, what's it called, regiment. They don't know my history from beginning to end. And this is despite me from 2015 to 2019, I would always post on the family WhatsApp group, hey, I'm going for this test. Because you see, doctors had to keep cancelling. At first, they thought I have multiple sclerosis. They had to cancel that. They had to cancel myasthenia gravis. They had to cancel, all those tests. Yeah? They have no clue about that. I've had support in terms of upkeep, very nominal amount. But I'm not the kind to look for handouts. But I have also a sister who started showing symptoms of mental illness, but family were just like, huyu ni ile kanisa ameenda. So they were blaming it on the church. Nobody went to hospital to follow up or anything. Turns out she had schizophrenia. And to date, her schizophrenia is quite manageable. I've taken her for several appointments. And every time the psychiatrists tell me, this is someone who can walk. So there's this one time, 2017, 2018, I stayed in a country. She was in a country. I stayed with her for some time. Made sure she was getting medicine on time. Because that time she had gone psychotic. She was just lost. She got back on track. She was doing things. Time to come back to Nairobi. I'm being told, no, Joy, you're the one who knows how to manage the house. You're the one who knows how to manage Lillian. You can't go. And there are no doctors in Western who could handle my case. In fact, a lot of the medication I was on at that time was not even available in Kisumu. I stayed with both Lillian and Andrew at one point or another. And the common factor I've noticed is you create an environment of peace, no shouting, give them a chance, listen to what they have to say, proper, balanced diet, they're good. Now with Andrew in 2021, okay, let me go back a bit. In 2019, he had fallen in with a bad crowd. He was doing drugs. So he was to be taken for rehabilitation. And mother agreed to take him in. No, mother, it's affordable, the rehab. Oh, my very saved brother was sent the cash, 25,000 first installment by my dad. He kept saying, I'm preparing everything. My mom came to Nairobi and she decided to stay here with me. Only to find out that this very saved brother of mine has used the cash. That's why my bro had not yet been admitted. I ended up having to chip in with the shopping because my mom was here and she was stressed. She had begged my dad to get my bro into rehab. Now to call him and tell her, your other son has eaten the money. She could not think straight. You tell her, go buy this there. She can't. You tell her what? No, she can't. She's just seated here in the house, stressed. And the more stressed she is, the more stressed I am. And the more stressed I am, the more my symptoms are degenerating, So somehow we got Andrew into rehab. When he got out, this same brother convinced my dad that he has the best solution for where my bro will stay close to him and he will take care of him. He took my brother to of all places, Lunga, slum. So Andrew is the one with the mental issues. He would come all the time, 2020. Okay, from 2019, late 2019, because I'd given quite a number of things for him to start his life in Lunga, because it was now a blank, empty house. So I'd gone through my kabatis, everything that I saw would give him a good start. Bought him a brand new radio, all that kind of thing. So Andrew just knew, if I need anything, go to Joy. Joy will help me. In the meantime, he's not getting medication. But I'm welcoming him all the time. In February of that year, he came and he's psychotic. My gate never used to be locked. I started locking it in 2020. I used to open it and leave it open because leaving the house that distance walking to get to the door is a stress for nothing. So he entered And when I saw the way he was looking, because I'm used to him, I knew today is not a good day. So I locked this lower Kinjapi, what's it, yeah, lower part. Yeah? I was like, Joy, I need the clean clothes here. I need to shower. I need soap. I told him, Andrew, you have a lot of clothes at your place. He's like, they're all dirty. I'm like, okay, I'm going to give you soap for showering. I'm going to give you soap for washing those clothes. The way, I don't know if you've seen a psychotic person when they're wild, jumping all over the compound, tossing things, nini. And it's like, oh, don't, I'm not going to take the soap. If you want to throw them at me. And for me, I was like, I have to show him there's still humanity. So I was like, Andrew, come and take the soap from my hand. Isikuwe nimekutupia. So I put the soap through the grill. Unfortunately, he pulled my arm and almost broke it. That was in 2020. I went to Mama Lucy by myself. On one side I have a crutch, on this other side I'm nursing a hand. So they did the x-rays, like, it's a fracture. But because of your pre-existing condition, it's going to take time to heal. Same time, 2020, it was the beginning of COVID, yeah? It was in Kenya, haikuwa imeshika as much. But every time I would go to hospital, Kenyatta, I was being seen at Kenyatta, they would put my next date within 3 weeks or maximum a month, which scared me because I felt unstable. There were patients you can literally see, this one looks off, but they've been given a date 6 months away. They were trying to reduce the traffic, people coming into the clinics. The public clinics are very crowded because you get seen by the best doctors, but at affordable prices. So, even the medical records people, they're like, we are going as per the doctors. And that time there were no residents. Residents are the medical doctors in training to become now neurologists or rheumatologists or whatever. So it was the actual professionals, the neurologists themselves, who were seeing me. In particular, there was Professor Amayo and Dr. Bwire who were seeing me. And each time my doses would be increased, or they would ask for invasive procedures, because one of the symptoms is serious nausea and malabsorption. You don't absorb food, so you lose weight. So we wanted the gastroenterologist to check me out to confirm my gastric system is fine. But that needed colonoscopies and sijui nini. And you remember that time COVID was taking specialists. The kawaida doctors, the the deaths compared to specialists who've been there for a while, it wasn't so much. So I'm here with a sling, here with a walking stick. My brother, nobody in the family is concerned. In fact, the thing that just crushed me completely is I remember being sent money, 1,000 shillings. Get treatment for yourself and buy medicine for Andrew. Now, how, with more than 5 other siblings, why can't my parents have asked the siblings, can you take Joy to hospital, and can one of you take Andrew to hospital? So Andrew kept being psychotic, always at my gate. I went for counseling. I chose a church that I don't go to so that it's not biased. I went to Nairobi Chapel. They were having free counseling services. And I was seen by one of the counselors the first time. Then the second time I was seen by, you can call them the old school psychologist. He has seen it all. He didn't spend a lot of time. He just asked me questions. Later on I realized in the line of whatever training, those answers I gave him told him everything he needed to know. So he told me, go to social services, get social services to help your brother, to get your family to help your brother. And these friends who have stood by you fundraise to get proper treatment. Where you're not comfortable, because I was going to Kenyatta because it's affordable, where you're not comfortable in private hospitals, they can be able to help you out. One of the worries I had is this house is under my mother's name. Although I was the one paying rent, it's under my mother's name. And during one of my mother's stays, when my brother was being taken for the, what's it called, for rehab, she asked me to clean out her WhatsApp messages. And I was cleaning out, because by that time I had left the family group. There were some other extenuating factors. I just decided this is a lot of noise for nothing, So I'm cleaning out. A message comes in to the family group. I open it. So see, you're scrolling through so that you can. It wasn't those days when you could just clear chat. You have to go deleting one by one. I'm seeing this very saved brother of mine saying the way, oh, this girl needs to be kicked out of that house. She's of no use to us. So when I talked to the psychologist, he told me, you're the one who's been paying rent. You're the one who's living there. The fact that you can come here and ask if you are the problem. Because I kept asking him, I'm in a family of, I'm the last born in a family of 10, although we lost one brother. Meaning I have I literally have grandchildren. What? I can't be the right one among all these over 20 people, you know. Because even when I was going for IVIG last year, which costs 1.5 million, when I was fundraising, my family, entire family, everybody included, removed a total of 40,000. They did not fundraise from other people outside. They left it to me. And they said they were not involved because I didn't involve them when I began fundraising. Yet, I called my sisters when I was going for emergency. It was an emergency case. And I was to be admitted immediately in HDU. HDU needed 200,000 deposit, and they had estimated it would come to 2 million to do the IVIG before I went in for a review to ask the lowest amount possible. So my sisters who had come as spectators, I paid for my consultation. They wanted to pay for the cheapest medicine on the list. It's around 90 more. And I'm like, I have that in the house. And they're like, the doctor is saying you'll be admitted. I'm like, do you have the deposit? 200,000. Do you have the 2 million? And they came home and they sat on their hands. And they kept having emergency visits. They kept having emergency visits. They kept having emergency visits. No one thought, oh, let's bring someone to help this girl cook for her food. Nothing. Nope. That was not part of their agenda. Their agenda was drop this girl. There's food that's been cooked at my brother's. He stays just here in 15 minutes walker. Drop her off. Drink what's in her house. Not even warm food for me that's in the fridge. Remember, I've been told you need to be admitted in HDU. I just dropped me off like baggage. So with that, say you look at your friends for help. My friends quickly told me we need to start fundraising immediately. We did the posters, we need. Then it became, look what this girl is doing. She's making the family name. She's making us look like fools. Because people are asking them, what is stiff person syndrome? They don't have a clue. They're being asked, what is Syringomyelia? Don't have a clue. Because they've never been with me during the diagnosis. Now this past year, 2022, from May of 2021, I had been supporting Andrew. There was some construction work being done. So he was here throughout. So here he used to say there's a calm presence. He can just relax. We not managed to train him in cooking. He had forgotten how to cook. It got him a phone and a phone line. He would save some of the cash he was making. He would bring me, tell me, John, today I made 200 bob, but I've spent 100. Put this 100 bob in M-Pesa. Don't give me my M-Pesa pin. December I came up with an idea. I asked my parents about it. My sisters, for the first time in over in months, decided to drop by. They always drop by after they've been told by my parents to check on me. They don't just come. They don't live far. They don't call. They don't SMS. They don't do any of that. So they come. And then they start telling me, oh, you don't know what Andrew needs. Stop insisting on doing ABC. So I told them, yeah, wash my hands off, because they involved my parents in that situation. I told them I washed my hands off this project because my health is not doing so good. I was supposed to have IVIG every month. We changed with the doctors to every 6 months. I still didn't get money in time to do every 6 months. I kept getting worse. You remember 2022, things started getting lost and the prices doubling and tripling. With medication, it was hell. Dawa ulikuwa unanunua 5 bob, is now 16 bob. And I'm taking 3 times 3, 9 tablets. That's the cheapest. Dawa zingine unaambiwa 97 bob, mpaka unaambia daktari, I stopped taking that one. Just be honest with you, I don't have money for that one. And you have a long list of medication that you have to buy. There was a time I had a quote. Medication for 1 month, 75,000. I asked for help from my parents. They told me, we can afford 3,000, not 3,000 every month. 3,000 one-off. And remember, there was that cold snap. SPS doesn't like extremes. Too hot, we're down. Too cold, now even worse. I was 247 in the emergency room. Medication being increased. During one of the emergency visits, Andrew came. It was on a Monday. He didn't find me because I was in hospital. Tuesday, he came. My assistant, who has now become my caregiver, was ganged up on by people in the parking lot. I let him see his sister. He comes in. There's no food in the fridge. He's shouting. He's psychotic. He's not the Andrew I left in December. He has lost so much weight and all that. So what I did, okay, he injured me in the process. I even have a photo. He injured got a black eye swollen, among other injuries. But I didn't blame Andrew. The blame rested on who? My siblings who stay here. Because I had asked my parents, stop asking me to take care of Andrew. They kept sending me messages, be your brother's keeper, and I'm asking them, who's taking care of me? Why aren't you sending these messages to the other 5 people in Nairobi? I tell them, I'm in the emergency room. Okay, but how much do you need to be buying food and medicine for you and Andrew? I'm like, I need 75,000 for my medicine. We can't afford that. We'll send you 7,000 to take care of you and Andrew. So finally I remembered what I was told in 2020. Go to social services. That is under the chief. Went to the chief. I had typed out a letter and I explained Andrew hana makosa. Proper diet, proper medication. He will work. Plus, I had pushed for him to get WD certified. He could do a job, can get employed. So the chief called the 5 siblings I had written there. Plus, I had already sent out the letters to all of them. 3 didn't attend. 2 did, 2 brothers. They were told in August of 2022. Do not stress John. In fact, do not even go to her house. If possible, don't even communicate with her because they kept saying, because you see the chief was wondering why I'm not asking for support for myself. I'm only asking for support for my brother. And then I also added a caveat. I wanted, when my parents come to Nairobi, they stay with my other siblings. Because when they would come here, see the extra stress would follow me. Because none of my siblings would be the ones buying food. Or, no, mtu mzee akimwaga maji, haoni like that's a danger. But for me, that's a follow hazard. So after I filed that with the chief, and the chief was like, yeah, this is their job. He was even ready, once Andrew is rehabilitated, to give him a job opportunity. He had reserved a spot for Andrew. Unfortunately, for 3 months, instead of taking care of Andrew, the family was busy complaining to each other how I've embarrassed them in front of the neighbors. Which neighbor was involved there? Andrew coming to scream at my gates has not started 2022. My neighbors have been seeing me buying food, cooking for him, and all that. So there was nothing. That letter was between me and the chief. No neighbor had seen that letter. And if anything, there was an article on me in the Daily Nation in February where I could have said all this, but I refused. I told the writer not to talk about family situation because she kept asking, what's the family situation? Are they supportive? Are they what? I just told her, you talk about the disease. So, if anything, I could have embarrassed the family on a national newspaper. I did not. Going to the chief, it was only the chief who knew, not the neighbors. So, after they have talked and talked and talked, from the last week of October to November, they came with half-cooked schemes of how basically it was revenge. They said, I've gone to the chief and said they're not taking care of me. I'll show you the letters.